Let's see. Let's get in here 1 second. Let me just go to social media platforms. Make sure that we're going to be showing live. Instagram is telling me we're live.
Okay.
There is
Facebook.
There you are, buddy. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Team Powerhouse Show, live with you every Tuesday night. Thank you so much for your patience as we're a couple minutes behind. In the hot seat tonight, a very special guest, the one and only, my son, Daniel Lamel. Thank you for joining me tonight, buddy. Thank you for joining me.
Absolutely.
I had a really great guest tonight, but she got sick. She couldn't make it. And Danny, who's here to visit for a couple days, is filling in. Right?
Couple days left.
Couple days in. We are live. I see on YouTube and everywhere else. If you're out there watching and you recognize this handsome man, give him a shout out, obviously. And we appreciate you being a part of the show. The show tonight, we decided to come up with something very special. And it has to do with a lot of young people who have now graduated college. So you may have a son or a daughter, or you may be one of those people that just graduated college and now you're in the job search. What did you do to prepare for this process? Thank you. Are watching on Instagram with a Prime. I see Prime Claudida. I can't see what it is. Prime something. Thank you for joining us today over here. So you just graduated college. You are there looking for a job, and you've got a lot of stress in your life. But what did you do before you went and graduated college to prepare for this situation here? Did you prepare your credit? Did you learn about credit? Have you been investing any of the money you've been saving? Have you been saving any money?
Of course, always saving.
Right.
Saving.
Well, here's what I can tell you. 43 million Americans have student loan debt. That's about an average of $37,000 per person. I think it's higher than that. Most grads leave school never taught how to manage money or credit. One of the things that Danny and your mom and I have been working with you since you've been a young man is about credit. Obviously, I'm in real estate, so credit is something that we talk about all the time. And a lot of young people don't know much about credit. You know?
You taught me at a young age, thankfully, so I was able to wrap my hands and grasp the information on it. And, having great credit makes your life much more easier, especially when you're buying a home and, you want to get yourself something nice, like a car or something like that. I know, but it definitely reduces your interest. It reduces your interest payment, and you're going to be taking a loan out. So you'd rather pay less to borrow money than pay more to borrow money? So number one, do you buy a car going to college? Is that a smart move? No. Okay. What do we have next to talk about over here? All right. For you? So for example, a 22-year-old. I'll just use myself. Who's going to be 22 July 13th. So a big shout out and happy birthday to Daniel. Yes. With no credit score, can't rent a home or an apartment anywhere in the country. Cannot rent a home or an apartment anywhere in the country. Why? They have no credit. No credit. You need to have credit. If you don't have credit, no one's going to want to rent to a young person because they don't know that you can afford to make and pay your bill on time, right? Look at my apartment in Florida. That's right. You were a co-signer for my apartment, still am. Yeah, that's right. I still am. And it's getting down to the wire. So chop, and we gotta hurry fast. That apartment lease is done end of August. August 27th. That's gonna be all on the big guy right here. Yeah. So what else, Danny? And then another key point is to open your degree and use your degree and open up your door to build credit habits and decide whether you want to walk through with it. This is also like a really big point of life. Just graduating college, you have a lot on your plate, but you want to really make sure that you have enough money stocked and stored away in order to start having things for yourself, whether it be small things or working towards something that's big. But you always want to make sure you have the money to back up for what you want to spend. So what you're saying to me is that when you're working, are you out there spending a lot of your money on dinners and drinks and partying? No. No. Why is that, Dan? because it goes all right down the drain, and
That's
you're
right.
not using it. You're using it for yourself in a fun way, but you'd rather work hard for your money. I think
Right.
a lot of people work hard for their money, and the last thing I feel like someone would want to do is to spend hundreds of dollars on dinners every weekend or going out to dinner every night, which adds up a lot.
Listen, does not mean you as a young adult shouldn't enjoy yourself, right?
No,
Definitely
not
should.
at all.
You should enjoy yourself. You should have fun. You just pick different patterns of things to do. I'll call it an age group or time in your life where it's not because of your age, it's because your income what it is. Plus, if you're taking that money and you're spending it, you have nothing to show for it. It's not invested, right?
Correct.
So, what's the next thing going on, buddy?
So why credit is so powerful is credit score definitely impacts. Getting approved for a card lease, or an apartment definitely affects on your credit and your credit score.
Yeah.
And buying a house in your late 20s and early 30s, you need at least a 620, which a 620 in the eyes of real estate is not good. So you're going to be paying a lot more for a house and borrowing money for a mortgage. So you definitely want to be in the mid to high sevens when you're buying a house.
I don't know,
Because
but I'm going to stop you right there.
no,
You need to be, first of all, to get a house, you want to be in at least the mid sixes to high sixes. I would say it's probably an average. Obviously, if you can be in the sevens, it's fantastic. But if you're not in the sevens, doesn't mean you can't buy a house. You will have a better interest rate if you're in the mid sevens for sure. But the point is that you, as a young adult, can definitely do at a young age build your credit much faster, right? Because you
correct.
haven't made mistakes. Because the mistakes make your credit go down so much faster, and it takes such a long time to build it back up. So by you using your income and establishing credit at a young age, right? Going back into
Absolutely.
establishing your credit at a young age is phenomenal because your credit score starts typically on the higher side than lower. And as long as you can keep that up now
And maintain it.
and maintain it, absolutely.
And then also a lot of companies are checking people's credits to make sure that this person or so and so can be able to maintain live a good life and is able to show up, work on time, and is reliable, and you can be trusted in this job.
That's absolutely right. You just mentioned something very important. Companies today, especially with young people, they are checking your credit. You may not realize it. You may not get a job because your credit is not good. Dylan Vasquez, thank you for joining the show over there on Instagram. But it's very important your credit at a young age because that shows responsibility to corporations and businesses. So if you have good credit, it makes a huge difference. If they're looking applicant to applicant, they may not even consider you, and may not understand why, just because your credit isn't good.
Yeah.
And that's important to know. A lot of young people out there, I guarantee you, don't know that.
Mm-hmm. So I want to move into how to start building credit. Is to get a secured credit card. Opening up a credit card, and you might have a small limit, but just to have by having a limit, you can pay things off, and you want to pay it off as fast as you can. And becoming an authorized user on your parents' card or mentor's card with great credit history. You did this with me, and
Yes.
this really definitely built up my credit. You want to grab someone that's very responsible with money and is not, overspends or has got a very bad spending problem. So, grabbing a family member who can be a co-signer or be part of their credit card history, be part of their account, but you want to make sure that, the significant other or your parent is going to be paying off your credit card statements in time.
Well, not paying your credit card, but their credit card. So,
Correct,
for
their
example,
credit card.
if I have good credit, just to go review back what Danny's saying over here, if I have good credit, it makes a difference by me putting Daniel on my credit card because I'm going to help establish his credit to be stronger before he goes to apply for a credit card. Now, if my credit is bad and I put him on my credit card account, his credit's going down the crapper real quickly and he's starting from the bottom. So it's important if mom and dad or your legal guardian who are your people taking care of you, if they can help you, if they have good credit, to help establish a better credit card situation for you, for them.
Yeah, and then therefore you can go out to dinner and not really have to pay for it.
Danny's a funny guy. Danny is always good to join for dinner.
Very
For sure, for sure.
And then another thing I want to keep golden rule or a very good note for yourself is to make sure you use your credit. When you have your credit card, you want to spend at least 30% on it.
Not more than 30%.
Not more than 30%. This can also be hard, including for me, because it can be hard to pay attention, or sometimes you do the mental math and the mental math is not there, and all of a sudden you look at your history of what you spent and it's over 30%. So you just want to make sure that you're very responsible and paying your credit cards and keeping sure that you don't go over 30% if you don't have to.
Let me just go back. Sarah Santos, thank you so much for joining again. Love having you on the show, watching. This is the Team Powerhouse Show. It's a special night having Daniel Lamella here joining me in the hot seat. When it comes to credit, right, as we talked about before, as you mentioned, you do not want to go over 30% on your credit card limits. So if you have 1, 2, or 3 credit cards, let's just say you have 3 credit cards.
I think they should start off with 1.
You definitely should start off with 1.
And then
let's say your credit is going to be $1,000 credit limit.
Your credit line.
Right?
You
How much is the most you should be able to spend on that $1,000?
At least 300.
Not more than 300, right? Because if you go over 300, you go past that 30%. So all of you young people out there, you're college grads, you may not know this. You got a credit card, you're going and you're spending money, you're maxing your credit cards out. You're actually making your credit score drop tremendously immediately. You go past that 30%, you're going to make your credit score go down. And then for you to get that credit score to go back up might take you a few months, just because in 1 month you broke the 30% rule. So if you can take 1 credit card, establish credit, use it up to 30%, pay it off every month, make sure you always pay your statement off, right?
Or just pay it off right after you buy something.
You can do that as well. And then eventually you can build a second credit card if being responsible, get a second credit card. Again, if you have 2 credit cards now at $1,000 a piece, and you're only spending 30% on each one, you actually are spending 15% on $2,000 using $300 on each one, because you've now doubled your credit and using a smaller amount. So your actually credit score will go up higher and higher, if that makes sense. 1 credit card on $1,000 limit, $300 is 30%. You get 2 credit cards and they're $1,000 a piece, and you now spend $300 each one.
$600.
That's $600 out of $2,000. You're going to do a much better job. You're going to build your credit and have a more established credit for yourself. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
And then you can always check your credit score using your credit card apps. Your FICO you can check using Barclays. You check your FICO. Or you can use Credit Karma, Experian.
I would definitely suggest Credit Karma. It's a great app to have on your phone. They'll also let you know when you're actually able to pick up a new credit card. They'll actually let you know, hey, listen.
Actually, I get all the alerts, notifications.
And
it depends on also what you want to get yourself into for getting a credit card. If you're more of a traveler, or if you do, there's a lot of great traveling credit cards you can get yourself. If you have your own business, cash back is very important when you're owning a business, making sure you can get some cash back from your bank. And then I want to jump into my next point with part 3 is stepping into your financial independence. Is to start a Roth IRA early. This comes up often when you accept a job. Beth taught me this, is that you want to make sure you want to get Roth IRA, because you're going to be paying, it's a little bit more expensive, but you'd rather pay the taxes on it now rather than paying taxes on it in the future. Let's throw an example out there. I don't know if it's true or not, but let's say the tax.
Make sure it's right before you say it. No,
I don't know what the tax rates are right now.
Gotcha. I'm sorry.
So I'll just use 10% as a number, and then let's say in 40 or 50 years when you decide to retire, it can be at 30%. So I'd rather pay the 10% now than paying 30% when that can be tax deducted.
Definitely a good point. When you're coming to investing and your different options you have, again, having a good financial advisor. We hooked up Daniel with our financial advisor. Her name is Beth Body. She's an amazing woman. She's fantastic. She's very educational for all of us. And when Danny was young, he had a little bit of cash that he'd been saved up from gifts and everything else. And he decided to get involved with Beth and learn about stocks and bonds and investing and learning about that kind of stuff. And that made a huge difference in your career path as far, not career path, but your
No,
path.
definitely, absolutely, because let's say in a couple of years I have a job and it pays well, and instead of renting, it's cheaper to buy something.
You might be able to
And
have a chance to buy
I
something.
might have the opportunity to put a down payment on a condo or a house that I want to buy. So
Danny's
I
definitely
can-
been a saver. We can say that for sure. He's good at saving his money and maybe spending our money. That might have been a little bit of a shakedown over here, but that being said, he's very good at saving his money and being wise about it.
And also, you want I know you want everyone saving. I know, it's okay to have a little debt in your name, because good debt becomes bad debt when you're going to be trying to buy something. And then just start investing little bits by month, or even by weekly. Even investing $100 a month, that's $1,200 a year that you invested, and it grows constantly. And
Compound interest.
And of course, there's always going to be dips in the market. You can't control that. I mean, if you buy low, sell high, but a lot of for what you're buying, you're holding. And of course, everything's going to go up from there. So you want to look for the long term.
The most important thing is when it comes to investing, you're investing long term. You shouldn't be looking for the quick in and outs. That's a little dangerous game to be a day trader.
It's a whole other different topic.
I don't recommend that to anybody specifically, unless you're in that department of finance and you're really knowledgeable. But what Danny was talking about is, again, when it comes to investing, everything you do to invest in your future. And there's a lot of different places you can go and invest. And one of the things
we'll talk about that in a short minute. But you also want to have an emergency fund too, because there's that God forbid that you get fired. You want to make sure, or something happens in your family, you can't go back to your job. You want to make sure that you have your expenses all planned out and make sure everything's paid. COVID's a great example. A lot of people were getting laid off, and they had to stock piles of money away. And
they had to use the money they stocked away.
Yeah, you have to use the money that they stocked away to make sure people were able to afford for their families and pay their bills and pay their mortgage. So you want to make sure you have a very good. You want to make sure you save your 3 to 6 months of bills, and then examples of saving options that there's ETFs, stocks, bonds, ETFs, and then you think and you can kind of dabble in a little crypto if you're interested in it too.
Well, it's more important that right now I'm going to jump in the crypto part of it, because stocks and bonds are expensive. You're buying pieces of it no matter what. You're not buying a whole share necessarily, and you want to make sure you buy what they call blue chip stocks. The same thing with crypto, which is, in my opinion, going to be a huge new future of what's happening in this country and what's going to happen in the future. You're thirsty, huh?
No, it's okay.
You sure?
Yeah, because you're going to be talking in just a short minute. And then,
So I was just going to say something. My boy. So when it comes to investing, again, crypto is something you definitely should look into, but become educated. Whenever you're investing in stocks, bonds, or crypto digital assets, you want to do as much research as possible. Don't just listen to your friend. Don't go and just look at something once. Do your research. It's important to research, become educated as much as possible.
There's a lot of great articles out there too. A lot of great websites. Investopedia, Morningstar, which has all the stocks and bonds and everything you want to know about a company. It gives you the balance sheets, the layouts, the prediction tables of X, Y, and Z throughout the years. Barron's Roundtable is another good one that you can read about and watch. And even throwing some stuff on TV, Fox Business, CBS, they got MSNBC. They have a good financial network over there. That's on in the gym sometimes. I like to watch that.
The going back to the crypto thing, for you young and older people as well across the board, there's a lot of crypto you can buy that is really, really less expensive and you can get into. And again, most importantly, the blue chip. And we talk about that in our crypto podcast on Mondays and Fridays. So if you missed or haven't watched, maybe you want to take a peek at that to help learn more about that as well.
And then I just want to mention just for a couple more seconds is, having a side hustle. Side hustles are really great because it's extra money that you have that you can use. You have your main job, your 9 to 5 from Monday to Friday. But if you have something on the weekends, on a Saturday or Sunday, or just even one day a week, like it's great because it's extra money that you didn't have, and you can use that to invest. You have your 9 to 5 salary job where you can pay your bills, stuff like that. But if you can't pull money away from that to invest, you can get yourself a side hustle and work a few hours a day.
Hard work pays off, that's for sure.
Mhm.
And when you're young, you will have much more energy than when you're old. And if you also have less things in life that are going to be, it's important to spend money on. As you get older, you
Yeah.
start developing and having a family and kids, and those kind of things become much more expensive, and you have less money to play with, right? So when you're young, your disposable income is much higher. So, and taking the disposable income and using it and investing it now, I tell people when they're in this age group under the age of 30, you should be investing, if you can, 50 to 60% of your income at least. There's no reason why you shouldn't. You should have, a small car payment. If any car payment at all, you want to have little debt in your name. The less debt you have in your name, the more money you have in the way to invest. The more you invest now at your age, it's going to be easier for you. As you get older, you'll have more responsibilities. As you have more responsibilities, you'll have less money to invest. So the earlier you start, as you did, the better,
13.
right? You start at age 13, beginning to learn about investing. Um, Now, most people at this age don't do that. His grandfather was a big investor as well. So he learned from his grandfather, his mom and dad, talking about credit and debt and how to get involved in things. And most importantly, it's important for you guys to understand to start. The best time to start is now. No matter what age you are, I don't care if you're 22, 32, 42, 52, 62, if you haven't invested yet, you've got to start now, and you've got to look at credit. But the younger you are, and you're graduating high school, you're graduating college, try to make sure and build your credit. All right, so my turn.
Yeah.
All right. Um, Lifestyles creep, and the warnings begin. You make $50,000 a year, and you're spending $80,000 a year. Something's wrong with that. You're gonna have a problem with.
You have to get checked out.
You're gonna get checked out, right? Mentally and physically. No, but you want to make sure that you're not spending more than you're making. You should have the ability to, at the bare minimum, look at your bank account, look what you're spending every month. Most people, including myself, when I was younger, I had money in the bank. I didn't keep a checkbook. I didn't keep my balances up to date. I didn't know what I was spending. One day, I'm dating your mom, right? And I have all this money in the bank, and I'm going out. We're having fun. And I go with the ATM card to go get money.
Too bad I wasn't alive there.
And
I would have definitely joined you.
Well, so anyway, I go to the ATM machine to pull money out because I don't keep my balances and writing down my checkbook, what's going on. And it says to me, no more money. And I was like, oh my God, no more money. Huh. How am I going to take her out for dinner tonight? So I, of course, came back and I was like embarrassed, and said, listen, we need to start saving and start putting this away because you're the woman I want to marry one day, and I need to be more responsible. And from then on, we began to do things differently. We began to go out less, enjoy different kind of activities together, that were not as expensive. And we started to save and plan for the future. And it's something you learn sometimes because you make a mistake. But if you don't have to make the mistake and you can learn earlier in your life, you're going to be in a much better place, I promise you. Um, let's see. First paycheck, avoid financing a brand new car. Invest in assets, not flexes. Don't invest in the muscles, the showboating, right? Invest in your pocket and your future, because when you get on later in life, women, you can be as pretty as you want to, Daniel, but if the women don't think you have no money in your pocket, the prettiness doesn't work anymore. Or handsome, you're a handsome guy, you're good looking, every girl wants to be with you, and then what happens? You don't have the ability to take her out and enjoy life, and immediately you're out.
Yeah.
All over.
I'd invest in a gym membership. That's the one thing I would do.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Taking care of health, mind, and body. Let's see. In stock market, invest in such things as VOO in the S&P 500, QQQ. And again, start looking into the crypto world.
It's
digital
much cheaper
assets.
now than it will be in the future.
That's 100% correctly. Look at something like XRP, HBAR, XLM, XDC. Most of these cryptos are in the, I'll call it 7 cents to 25 cents to 15 cents to $2.50. These are going to be the future. And it sounds crazy to say that these items here I just mentioned in crypto, we talk about all the time, are the future of what's going to be happening. If you get in early, it's much easier. How many coffees a week are you spending money on?
That's the worst thing to buy yourself is coffee.
Well, it's not the worst thing to buy yourself.
No,
just be
to go out,
responsible.
you go out, it's $5, $6 you're throwing away.
I agree with you.
That's $180 a month. And
You-
then
Again, take a little bit of money every week and invest it. It's much easier than pulling big chunks to invest, right? Rich Dad, Poor Dad, a great book for you to look into reading, as well as you, my son.
Yeah.
It's a great thing to look into reading for your future, to understand, not to be in a place you don't want to be in your future. Real wealth equals discipline, right? Good discipline. It's going to give you the opportunity to have a good future for yourself. Consistency with money wins every time over hype. The real estate in your 20s is possible. I'm going to say this. When I first got in the business, the average buyer, first-time buyer, was in the ballpark of 25 years old. Today, it's a little later in life because of how things have gotten more expensive. I'll say that. Maybe between 30 and 40. But at 25, if you're saving, you've been saving really well, you actually are in a position to buy. You don't need a lot of money to put down to buy a house. You need 3.5%. 3.5% of what, right? What does that mean? Closing costs. And there's a lot of government loans out there that can help you to make early decisions in life if you have good credit to own a home. Very important. A 25-year-old who bought a duplex, lives in one unit and rents the other, building equity and passive income. Multifamilies, duplexes. Learn about this information about real estate. Begin your real estate career. Begin your investing career. But you got to learn to invest wisely. Thank you, Cal1956, for joining us on Instagram.
Kelly Montague.
I know.
And then Nick Cavadas is on there now, too.
I see that also. Hi, Nick Cavadas. Good. Thank you for joining, buddy. Danny's pointed out over here. We love having our friends and our clients and our family watching the show. We are on about 7 different platforms, and it's lighting up everywhere. We love and appreciate everyone you guys watching every time we have a podcast. The Cavadas family is a perfect example of really well invested, smart family, good, hardworking people, really, really good people, and how they invested and learned from their parents how to do things right. I'm going to put it out there because it's all facts. Your future is in your own hands. Again, from the beginning, Danny was talking about building credit. He's going to be 22 years old July 13th. Happy birthday, right? And you've done the right thing with a lot of persistent, a lot of making sure you understand, not everything you wanted to do always in investing your money, but you got to the point now where every time you have money, all you think about is where you can invest it. And it gets exciting because you get to watch what you've invested in
grow.
Absolutely. And you did it all yourself, learning, listening, watching, reading. There's a lot of YouTube places you can learn information from. But I will tell you this, especially more today, where crypto is something of the future in this country. Do your research and begin to invest wisely. Follow our crypto podcast on Mondays and Fridays. You're going to learn a lot. Watch some of the past episodes. We try to make it very, very user-friendly, very educational to help you build a future for yourself. It's a lot of fun and learning.
Yeah.
All right.
That kind of wraps up what we have for today.
That exactly wraps up what we have today. Thank you so much for joining the Team Powerhouse show on Tuesday nights. Danny Lamel here, a special guest. We love having him on. It's my best friend, my blood, sweat, and tears. Your mother loves you. We're proud of you. You're doing a great job. You're doing great things.
She loves me too, by the way.
Your sister loves you to pieces. And we're lucky to have him here joining us this last couple of days, here for a few days before he goes back to Florida and working on his future.
Amen.
Thank you so much for joining, everybody. We appreciate you being a part of our show. We love and appreciate you again every week watching. Mondays and Fridays, we do crypto. Tuesdays is the real estate podcast. We bring in local businesses. If you are one and want to come join us in the show, we'd love to have you. If you've been on the show before, you're more than welcome to come back, aka Nick Cavadis. Again, we appreciate you guys being a part of our show every week. And we'll talk to you soon.